Hello, everyone. My name is Jeremy McLaughlin. I am the Programming Director for the ASIS student chapter here at San Jose State University. I'm happy to see so many new and some familiar faces and want to welcome everyone for joining us this evening. I'm excited about our event, which is going to introduce a new certification program here in the iSchool at San Jose State, as well as the growing importance of data analysis and visualization and the role of librarians in essentially data wrangling in the future. But before I introduce our speakers, I did just want to mention a few words about San Jose State ASIS student chapter. If you're not currently a member, please check out the URL, the ischoolgroups.sjsu.edu/ASIS student chapter, SC. There you'll find a great Prezi that was put together last year that explains some of the specific benefits that folks have gained from being associated with our student chapter. It's especially important for virtual students to feel that community and that engagement and involvement, and that's certainly one of the benefits that you can gain from being part of our student chapter. Members and potential members can also check out our blog where we post content from recent graduates as well as current students, faculty, really anyone who wants to write a blog can post there, but we have a variety of information there, as well as quite an extensive backlog, if you will, of previous events and recordings going back to 2011, which include a ton of great information about programs, classes, professors in the iSchool, research and technology topics, career development, etc. So again, members, non-members, if you're interested in joining, please give it some thought. Take advantage of the resources that we have available. And if you have some ideas for programs, or if you want to get involved somehow and aren't sure where to begin, please reach out to us and we'll be happy to hear from you and certainly look forward to working with you. So now I'd like to introduce our speakers for this evening, Dr. Sandra Hirsh and Dr. Michelle Chen. Sandy is a professor and director of the School of Information at San Jose State University. In addition to holding leadership roles in ALA and IFLA, she's currently serving as the 2015 president for the Association for Information Science and Technology, ASIS&T. Dr. Hirsh is our student chapter faculty advisor, and in her spare time over the last few years, wrote a book, Information Services Today, an Introduction, which was published by Rowman and Littlefield in March of this year. So welcome, Dr. Hirsh. Dr. Michelle Chen is currently assistant professor at the School of Information at San Jose State University, and is also a faculty member at the Silicon Valley Big Data and Cybersecurity Center. Her primary areas of research and teaching interests include large-scale data visualization, data mining, social media, and online user behavior. In particular, she's interested in studying the value of virtual platforms as informational and social media, and the role of today's networked environment on shaping user behavior. Both Dr. Hirsh and Dr. Chen have been great supporters of the student chapter throughout the years, and once again, I'm delighted to welcome them this evening. And with that, we'll hand it over to Sandy to get us started. Thanks again.
Thank you very much, Jeremy. I am really pleased to join you tonight for this event. And before I get started talking about our new advanced certificate, I just wanted to congratulate the student chapter again, but this time kind of in person, for winning the student chapter, being recognized as Student Chapter of the Year by the ASIS organization. And I'm really excited that they will be receiving that award at the annual meeting that I will be presiding over the award ceremony as president. So I hope some of you will be in St. Louis and that we can celebrate together, and hopefully get a chance to see you there. So that's next month at the annual meeting. Anyway, I again wanted to also thank you for the opportunity to talk a little bit about our exciting new advanced certificate that our school is launching for this spring semester. It's called the Advanced Certificate in Strategic Management of Digital Assets and Services, which is quite a mouthful. But I wanted to provide you with a little bit of context and information about that program, about this new certificate. So as I said, we're going to be launching this in the spring, and it will be 9 units, so three unit courses. And the idea is to help people who want to come to get an advanced certificate from our school, who are external to our school, to be able to complete an advanced certificate in this important area, or our current students who are currently enrolled as MLIS or MARA students, have the ability to concurrently get the advanced certificate and their master's degree simultaneously without adding extra units or extra costs. So it's really just a net benefit. The objective of this new advanced certificate is really to address some of the complex information and data that people are engaging with in libraries and other settings, and identifying ways to manage and to harness that, or as Jeremy said, wrangle that data. So let me show you what the career pathways look like, because it'll give you a better sense of what we mean when we're taking charge of that complex content. So there are 3 different advanced certificate career pathways that you can choose from, and you would choose one of these 3 if you are interested in pursuing that opportunity. One is in the area of digital assets management, and that would involve digital content management, digital curation, tools and services, and new digital media characteristics, so courses that would address some of those areas. Then there's another career pathway that is around information governance, assurance, and security, and that really focuses around the governance of digital information and data in organizational and network contexts. And the one that's perhaps the most relevant for the discussion today, the topic today, and the area that Michelle will be most closely addressing, is in the area of data analytics and data-driven decision-making. And this is all about the harnessing big data, visualizing that information, and using social media for competitive and company research. So taking this specific career pathway as an example, you can see the 4 courses that are available to you in that pathway, and you would choose any 3 of these to complete the advanced certificate. Are we allowed only one pathway? Yes. I want to say yes. No one's ever asked me that question before, but I believe the answer would be yes, that you would only be able to, because you would only be able to get one advanced certificate. That doesn't mean you wouldn't be able to take the classes in those other areas, but I do not believe that you would get another advanced certificate. But that's a good question, and I'll have to double check that, but I believe that's the case. So in order to complete that, you would need to choose 9 units from within a single pathway and with a GPA of 3.0 or higher. And then you'd have to create a digital portfolio or blog to demonstrate your competency, to show that you've met the program learning outcomes for that pathway. We think that this new advanced certificate is, as I said before, is kind of a net benefit to our current students who are already enrolled in one of our master's programs, because it would give you that extra kind of certification or designation on your resume and on your transcript that identified as you as having that extra knowledge in that particular area. I'm looking at Jeremy's question. If you're planning to do a thesis, do you have to do a full e-portfolio? If you're planning to do a thesis as your culminating experience for the end of the semester, no, you don't do a full e-portfolio for the program, but you still would need to create this digital portfolio or blog to demonstrate your competency and that you met the program learning outcomes for this advanced certificate. So I hope that clarifies that. Just for the certificate, yes, not a full portfolio. And just looking to see here, yeah, so there's no additional cost. It really opens up career opportunities for you, and it should kind of demonstrate your specialized skills, adds to your resume. So that's pretty much what I had to say about the certificate. Do you have additional questions? I'm going to make a note, though, about the questions that you had about a single pathway, and just to make sure I gave you great advice. I'm pretty sure you still have to do the portfolio, just that limited portfolio if you're doing a thesis. Yes. Great. Yes, just for the certificate. Other questions? The other thing I wanted to mention, in case you know people who are not current students in our program, but that might be interested in advancing their career or focusing in one of these areas, the career pathways that I identified, for that advanced certificate, you only need a bachelor's degree. It's not a post-master's certificate, so you don't already have to have your master's degree. So that opens up possibilities, and then they have the option potentially of rolling those classes into one of our master's degree programs if they wanted to continue on for one of the master's degrees. So that's another opportunity. Yes, so thank you for asking that, Lizette. The certificate is only available it's a special session certificate, so it can only be gotten when you're in special session. However, those of you who might be in regular session, after 22 units, you have the ability to, you can opt to switch over to special session, maybe even just for one semester if that's all you wanted, to take the classes that you needed, and then you can switch back at any time back into regular session. So, and the fees are almost identical for special and regular session. So the only thing that's different is if you have a special circumstance of being a Cal vet, or if you are on a fee waiver for some reason, or if you have state financial aid, because those benefits don't transfer over to special session. But if you're not one of those categories, then it really is pretty much the same for you whether you're in regular or special. Do any of the classes double qualify for the master's program's requirements, or are they only qualifying for no, you can double count. They do double qualify you for the master's and for the advanced certificate. So just to be clear, the advanced certificate does not add additional classes to the end completion. So for example, if you're an MLIS student, to get the MLIS degree, it's 43 units, and if you get the advanced certificate while you're a master's student, you still only complete 43 credits, and you end up with the master's degree and the advanced certificate. So it adds no extra costs, and it adds no extra units. You just need to be strategic about the classes that you're taking so that they could and file the appropriate paperwork and complete that brief portfolio at the end. Great, good questions. Can I take the upcoming data visualization class if I have only taken 200, 202, 203? That would be a question for Michelle.
Yes, I believe so. I think the only prereq for the course would be the core courses in the school, so yes.
Well, then they didn't complete 204 yet, so that's
okay.
one of the core courses.
Let me double check real quick for you.
Any other questions? I thought it said 202, but there was a possibility of other requirements depending on the subject. Right. So, Michelle, perhaps you can follow up.
Yes, the course prereq is 202.
So then you would be fine.
Yes.
Thank you, Michelle.
Thanks for the question. Thanks, Sandy.
Great. So I'm not sure that there's any more questions. If not, want to make sure I leave enough time for Michelle, but it's been, if you have any further questions, don't hesitate to reach out, and we'll be happy to answer those questions. And I am excited about this new opportunity for our students. I think it's great, and also for the opportunity for people outside our program who are not currently students in our program to take advantage of some of the outstanding learning opportunities that our school has. All right, back to you, Jeremy.
Great. Yeah, thank you so much for that introduction, and to everyone for the initial questions. It certainly sounds exciting to me, and I'll be looking into it even more. So with that,
great, thank you.
Yeah, thank you again, Sandy. All right, Dr. Chen, you are queued up and ready to go when you're ready to go.
Thank you, Jeremy. Hello, everyone. It's my great pleasure to be here today to give you an overview of the roles and applications of data visualization in the library field and some of the visualization tools that we may be using. So before we jump into data visualization, I would like to first talk a little bit about why data visualization has been gaining attention from both academia and practice and why we need it. We are in the era of data storm. So according to a report from International Data Corporation, from 2005 to 2020, the digital universe will grow from 130 exabytes to 40,000 exabytes, or about like 40 trillion gigabytes. And I know that sounds like just a huge number. So for librarians and information professionals, that means some key questions have emerged from this data storm. What are the implications of the data storm? What is the best way for us to organize data so that it can be easily found, searched, retrieved, and accessed? So what is the role of the information professional in this digital universe? I think before we can answer those questions, we need to first look at how data is different nowadays compared to before. So the data I would like to briefly talk about is the big data. I believe many of you have heard about this term or already learned about it a lot, but what is big data exactly? Well, big data is really a buzzword that can carry out many different meanings and be viewed from different perspectives depending on the domain and discipline, or even on the people who actually create, use, and manage the data. But it is generally believed to be an interplay of technology, analysis, and some social issues such as better public goods creation and privacy incursions and many other more. So sources of big data include complex data from the internet transactions, emails, videos, click streams, and all other digital sources available today and in the future. So what really makes the data today, or the big data, different from other types of data can be captured with the 4 V's, which are listed here: volume, velocity, variety, and veracity. And you can kind of relate to what you've been dealing with every day to see if that is the case. So the volume simply refers to the increasing size of the data. So for example, social media has been known to produce a lot of researchable and actionable data every day. But some scientific data, such as climate change and forecast data, can actually hit up to 200 terabytes, and that equals to about 10 to the 12 per day. So that's a great amount of data that we're looking at every day. And the next V is velocity. So according to a previous analysis on Fortune magazine, we actually created about 10 to the 18th of digital data in recorded time until 2003. But by 2013, that time period has already shrunk to just about 10 minutes. So we're actually producing a lot of data every day, and that's the velocity of the data we're dealing with. There are actually two aspects to velocity, one representing the throughput of data, which means the data moving in the pipes. The other measure is latency. So previously, analytics is mostly done with historical data, and that's something we saw from, say, data mining tasks. So we build our predictive models based on some historical data. But now the analytics is increasingly being embedded in processes using data in motion or simply real-time data with so-called the reduced latency. So velocity can really be viewed from both throughput and latency. Big data has also enabled new data integration and analytics technologies for new data formats. The raw data can come from parsing emails and looking for information from a variety of organizations, for libraries as well, and other industries that you can imagine, like airline tickets, online purchases. So they come from many different formats, and both for inputs and outputs. And here I just gave an example for New York Public Library. The data that the library has been sharing with the public includes all the collections, whether they're in prints or digital collections. There are images, there are also a lot of videos and audio streams. So you can find data in various formats. And finally, unlike carefully governed internal data, most of the data that comes from the sources outside our control today, and therefore suffers from significant correctness or accuracy problems. So veracity exhibits in both the credibility of the data source as well as the suitability of the data for the target audience. So we must also think about the audience suitability and how much truth can be shared with a specific audience when we deal with the data. So here are just some of the questions for us to think about. Who are you using the data for? What is the target audience? And is it the right data? So for data storm or the big data era, very often these 4 V's exist simultaneously, and that has posed new challenges as well as opportunities for us. So what is the impact of the data storm on libraries and in the library and information science field? What is happening here? Well, the White House's big data initiatives and policies have made one of the biggest changes around big data and libraries in the past several years. And this change of policy landscape has put together a greater emphasis on so-called public access to the results of research funded by the federal government. So for example, NIH policy requires research written as a result of the NIH funding to be deposited full text in PubMed Central within 12 months of publication. And this has created a momentum in a lot of other libraries to start sharing the data and making the data open. For example, and one of the most famous one is that Harvard made public the information on more than 12 million books, videos, audio recordings, and more things inside its 73 libraries. So overall, there might be over 100 different attributes for a single object that we can describe. So with such abundant information, people can create things like visual timelines of when ideas become broadly published, or even maps showing locations of different items. And Harvard's action has encouraged many other libraries to allow access to the metadata on their volumes, which was the start of a large and unique repository of intellectual information. So as a result, data has been getting bigger and bigger. So what are our roles in this data storm era? One of the most emerging technologies, and I think for librarians, informational professionals to learn and to know more about is data visualization. And the definition, I can quickly just go through it, means that the creation of two-dimensional or three-dimensional representations of data that enables new discoveries of insights or knowledge, or the use of computer-supported interactive visual representations of data to emphasize cognition. So both of these are great definitions of visualizations, and it focuses on how we can use the visual displays and our vision power to aid our understanding and interpretation of data. And this figure here is just a quick example of what data visualization can do for us via visual display. And this is a visualization created by Stanford University Libraries called Kindred Britain. And it shows a network of nearly 30,000 individuals, many of them iconic figures in British culture, connected through family relationships of blood, marriage, or affiliation. So before we had this tool, it didn't really like appear very obvious how those figures connect together. But now it is a vision. The visualization is user vision of the nation's history as a giant family affair, and has been used to support various research areas in history and in humanities as well. So I would like to show you some interesting examples that show what have been done with visualization in the library and information science field, some real-world applications. So the first example here is from the Health Sciences Library at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill that partnered with the Renaissance Computing Institute. So they built and provided visualization infrastructure and expertise as one of their key services of the center and the library. So with this service, researchers can consult and collaborate with visualization experts to develop custom applications to analyze data. So as you can see here, the center's visualization resources include a display wall and with about like 10-foot by 8-foot rear projection display screenshot, and that is capable, I believe, over 10 million pixel resolution, which is quite large. So they use that to support the visualization services. And the right figure here shows one example that a visual display has been conducted to aid a research on injury prevention. And that is from the collaborative efforts from the librarians and the researchers. And again, previously we didn't even have that technology or even interfaces to support those efforts. But now researchers can seek help from the librarians or visualization experts, and the ability of researchers to interact with very high-resolution imagery images from the screen on the display will provide opportunities for new collaborative applications and research questions and opportunities as well, which I found really interesting. I myself would like to see something like this in the library services so that can help me kind of explore, do some initial data exploration or even the final data representation. Another example is the very famous one from Seattle Library, Central Library, and it is a commission called Making Visible the Invisible. And the commission houses a large open 19,500 square foot space dedicated to information retrieval and computer research. So the installation consists of I think there are 6 here. Yeah, 6 large LCD screens located on the glass wall just behind the librarian's main information desk. And the screens feature real-time calculated visualizations generated by custom-designed statistical software using the data received every hour. So that relates and echoes with what we just talked about, the 4 V's. So they're actually looking at real-time data, and so both the velocity and reduce latency of the data. So the data consists of a list of checked out items, and from the list they can collect and aggregate titles, checkout time, and catalog descriptors. So they showed that there are approximately about like 22,000 items circulating every day. And the snapshots of the visualizations are presented on the right. So for example, the second, well, it's not very clear here, but the second visualization features the checkout items in a chronological sequence. So each timestamped title actually enters the screens from the far right. And it is real time, so it slowly moves towards the left until the whole hour's set of items have passed by. So this flow of information can be calculated mathematically, analyzed statistically, and represented visually. And we found that from the library's research, from a cultural perspective, the result is a good indicator of what the community of patrons considers interesting information at a specific time point. The third example is a very specific one, and is for citation applications, so it's citation visualization. So there have been various visualization software tools developed for capturing the relationships among authors and citations. These visualizations reveal complex bibliographic data structures through visualizations such as citation patterns, author relationships, leading terms and topics in cross-disciplinary research, and many more. So visualizations in this application has become a powerful tool not only for academic librarians but also for a lot of end users. So far we have been talking about what have been done and what's happening here. So from a librarian and information professional perspective, what else can be done? Here are just some of the examples, and I'm sure that you will have a lot of better ideas and you have your own thoughts about what we can do with visualizations. Well, no doubt a library is a data center, so it is a hub where information flows and exchanged. So we actually keep a great variety of data in the library, ranging from circulation statistics to any digital archives. So here is an example that I found a great one to share. It is a little bit frustrating one, but that serves a good example. So the California State Library annually publishes the California Library Statistics, and it is a compilation of statistical data from public and county law libraries throughout the state. So if you just quickly search for that, you can find all the data available online. But if we take a closer look at the data and that we have right now, we can see that many of them are in plain Excel format, and that seems to be pointing to nowhere. It's not really informative. And I think it's really a pity that we have a lot of data, but we just don't know how to make an effective use of it. And with visualizations, we may be able to render data in ways that communicate information, answer questions, and support the analysis, and facilitate new questions or discoveries from our data. And right, and there's no interpretation of all the field values either. So so if we are able to make a better use of this data, for example, for library patrons, the library could use visualizations to present things like current collection budgets, e-book availability information, statistics on library use, and data about the public attendance of library programming. So these types of visualizations will not only be interesting to patrons, but also provide a deeper understanding of the library's daily operations and the impact it has on the community. And so it's just like the case that we saw in the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill's Collaboration Center, it can become a necessary service for many types of libraries. Visualizing the library data can also be part of the library exhibition of information for outward facing, which I personally really like and think is very important. So some really good infographics are useful to promote information literacy or library events. So visualization can be used to enhance patron interactions and user experiences as well. Here is an example from some of the library's web browser. They actually incorporate the search engine that is called Aqua Browser, and that presents catalog search results in the regular format, but also includes a graphical sidebar consisting of a web of related search terms surrounding and connected to the original search term. So the larger the text and the closer to the center the term the text are, the greater the relevance to the original search term. And the results are actually interactive, allowing us to follow the path out from our original search term and onto relative ones. And I think it is very important and kind of interesting applications, especially we're doing a lot of cross-disciplinary research right now. So sometimes it can be difficult for other people in a specific area to identify the key terms in the leading publications. So those type of visualization applications will really aid the information retrieval and seeking process. Another useful area of visualization in this field lies in governance. So the library staff could use information visualization to display physical information, for example, for the library board, county board, or committees. And the library manager can also use those visualized data to show how successful a new program is, how budget cuts are affecting certain departments, and how staffing levels change over a certain period of time, and even for fund seeking. I'll pause here for a little bit. The software, you mean for the information? No, I didn't specify a specific software for information literacy, but the one that you just saw here for the web search is called the Aqua browser. So it's AQUA browser. Sure. And so I've been working with one of our previous students in our school, and she worked in a tribal library. So we've been using visualization to kind of highlight the efforts and the operations that the tribal library has been doing, and to kind of showcase the efforts and put them in a more obvious spot so that people can see what the tribal library has been doing, even if they're receiving less funds and support, but they're still trying to make a performance on par with urban libraries. So we found it a kind of a very powerful and effective tool to showcase the library activities, and she actually used that to present in a conference and to build a consortium between different tribal libraries throughout the state. So again, that's the application that we found to be quite effective. And finally, and that's my personal favorite one, understanding the data can fulfill library's social responsibility role. So library has the potential role in addressing a lot of social issues such as poverty and illiteracy. So it is suggested that demographics, statistics, and measures compiled by public libraries in designing existing often socially responsive services and programs should be coupled with community profiles, quality of life indicators, and scorecards. So we have seen data-intensive research being used in the collection, compilation, and analysis of such demanding data, which ultimately, I think, emphasize the library's mission of improving the well-being of our communities through effective use and presentation of information. So, how can we be better prepared for the data storm and for the emerging trend in data visualization? Well, I've been asked this question a lot, not only from our own students, but from the community as well. And so here are just some of my tips before you dive into this field seriously. There are actually many other things that we can do to kind of explore the area, to see and to learn a little bit about the skills and So I think we want to get ourselves first familiarized with the data-intensive related issues and problems, and that can be found from various readings. But if we're really interested in being able to understand, interpret, and communicate large-scale data sets, I think we can start with some webinars, seminars like this one, but there are also a lot of great MOOCs to gain knowledge and skills in handling large-scale data sets. And I think that's kind of just or lay out a preliminary stage for yourself to see whether this is something you're interested in pursuing, if this is something that you would like to do. And I see a question here, so let me just address to it real quick. That's a great question about cleaning the data. And to be honest, I still find it really challenging. There is no such universal software tool that we can use to clean the data. And as you can imagine, the data does come from just really complicated and different styles and formats. So honestly, I don't have a great answer for you as far as what is the best tools or skills that we can use to kind of prepare the data for use. It is just very time and labor consuming, I would say, to get the data really clean up. And I think, and that's a great point, that some of the challenges not only from whether the data are clean enough, it's about whether the data actually means something, like if there are a lot of missing values, or even if when you're doing the visualizations, sometimes we may be too dependent on what we discover from the data. So there's actually a big trade-off between the data quality and the analysis quality. So that's overall is a very complicated issue, I would say. But unfortunately, I don't have a great answer about kind of a single tool for us to analyze, to prepare the data so that it's clean and structured enough. Usually, it just involves a lot of time from labor. So I hope that answers the question, or it might not, but just to let you know that you're not alone. I think that's the difficulty that a lot of data analysts have been dealing with. Yes, well, yeah, there are tools like, still you can use Excel, or you can use Tableau to do some level of data cleaning, but I think when the data comes in a really large scale, then that becomes really frustrating, and very often the data quality itself will be an issue. So if the data is on a really large scale, we can't even notice if there are any missing values, or if there are false values in our data. So it would be a great issue. So data quality itself, I think, is a big problem in the whole data analysis field. Let me go on to the next slide, and we can take questions and discussions. And so many of you have some of you have talked about these tools, and for visualization tasks, there are also many other software tools that offer free trials or free academic license. And here I just list 3 options that I've been using in my classes, and I believe some of my students here are very familiar with them already. And of course, there are many other tools that we can explore and try, and I am not being an advocate of these tools, not advertising them at all. Again, they provide free academic license, so that's one of the reasons and motivations why we adopt them in the class. And so first one is Many Eyes, and I think Lizette has mentioned that, and it was developed by IBM Research. I think it's kind of moving towards the being combined with IBM Watson Analytics, so it will not be Many Eyes anymore in the near future. But so far, it's still a great tool, particularly for exploratory data analysis and visualization. And like the fact that it's a web-based visualization tool, so it can operate regardless of what kind of operating system or browser you have. And I think another advantage is that it provides a platform for people to share data and their visualizations. It's not anymore. It was before, but I'm hoping that once it is completely migrated into IBM Watson Analytics, they still provide this feature. Another software is Tableau. So Tableau is a software that provides a greater variety of visual capabilities, and most importantly, how to use those visualizations to support data analytics and decision making. And I think, like Lizette said, it is very kind of intuitive, and it's very easy to learn, and I believe the user interface is quite friendly too. So I found them really useful for both beginners and for advanced learners in this field. And the third software is the one that I've been using in my big data class, and it's called Splunk. And it is particularly useful for machine data, so which is, for example, the data from weblog for online user behavior. So it is an integrated platform to search, monitor, analyze, and visualize all this. And again, it provides different capabilities for querying and visualizing the data. I was planning to probably demo some of them, but my application sharing function on Collaborate has been really poor. It was very frustrating, so I just kind of provide the options here for you. But all of them have great training resources online, so if you've about those tools and just for any suggestions or discussions. So this is my presentation today. I hope it has Hi, sorry, I for some reason got kicked out, and I'm back. I'm not sure where we were.
Yep, you were just wrapping up, Dr.
Wrapping up. Okay, great.
Yep, so, that's perfect.
Yeah, questions and comments are greatly appreciated. So thank you very much.
Okay, we did have one question that you may not have seen, and it was, would these three tools be covered in your InfoVis course in the spring?
We will cover Many Eyes and Tableau in the visualization course, but not the Splunk. I use Splunk mainly in my big data course. But for the Many Eyes, as I said, it is kind of migrating to be combined with the IBM Watson Analytics. I'm not sure if they will still offer it for free, or it's kind of in an uncertain stage, so I'm still exploring that. But even if we're not learning about Many Eyes, I would absolutely find another great tool that we can practice and we can learn how to use. So any other thoughts, comments, questions? For the visualization, information visualization course, most of the assignments were actually hands-on. So you will be asked to progressively practice different visualization techniques and analytical skills. So you will start with a very simple data set. And thank you, Lizette, for your kind words. So you will start with a really simple data set and some simple analytical questions, and then you will progressively learn how to deal with larger data and to propose your own questions and how you can address those questions using the visualizations that you created. So I would say it's pretty much hands-on, but you also get a chance to discuss some of the visualization-related issues like the roles and applications of visualization to the library field and some of the challenges or even like data privacy issues, different social issues in the discussion posts. So I'm trying to have a balance between the hands-on skills, which I think would be really important takeaways from such a course, for more technical course, but also give you more insights into other issues like analytical challenges, social considerations, etc. Well, thank you, but you're not late. You're very welcome to take my visualization course. But I would say there's not really like which one should go first, big data or visualization. I would see them more like complement with each other. So actually, I think the two courses will provide different perspectives and different insights, but they kind of come together in the end.
Sorry to jump in, Dr. Chen, but as another plug for your classes, I got to take the Big Data Analytics class, and it was just a great class overall, and I really enjoyed using the various products, I'm talking like a vendor, the various data visualization platforms, and still continue to use them today. And I just wanted to come back to answer the question or the follow-up that someone had asked about something I put in the chat, and that was dealing with Excel, and just in my experience, and we're not by definition in the classes or in sort of the research that I'm doing on the side, I'm not dealing with quote-unquote big data. I'm dealing with spreadsheets that I can handle on my own computer, and so by definition it's not big data, but for me, in terms of prepping the data and just before I want to use it in visualization, doing some of those initial analyses and seeing what I'm dealing with, I found just taking some advanced Excel classes and really honestly doing it. I know many of us have said we want to learn to use Outlook better or PowerPoint better, but it's hard to take the time. Actually taking some time to just take a few advanced Excel classes, learn how to create some advanced pivot tables, merging and matching, color coding, advanced formulas, compares, duplicates. I mean, there's all types of things you can do in there that really have significantly increased my ability to cleanse the data that I'm dealing with, and then feel a little bit more confident about just throwing away bits of data that I can't use, or identifying those things up front that I'm going to want to focus in on for different platforms, because not all of them can take huge amounts of data. So again, by sort of need, I found that just being able to handle that stuff in Excel and feeling confident with those advanced features in Excel has made a huge difference for me, and certainly has been useful in other classes. So that's my plug for Dr. Chen's class, as well as advanced Excel classes.
Thank you, Jeremy. And I think there's another question for you.
So we had a comment that there's some good Excel plugins that help with filtering and manipulation for sure. Yep, that's great. Thank you. That's also another route is whenever I go in and am data wrangling, as I say, I, again, out of necessity, am able to usually find new things. Googling just a basic question usually will bring back support page results at the very least, but also directions for plugins and other advanced things. We also had a question of, are those classes free? It depends. You can usually find a variety of free things on YouTube. Some are subject specific, some are a little bit more broad and general, so finding ones on specific topics, it really depends on what you're looking for. I invested in actually taking a class through Microsoft. I was trying to move through the certification process, but you know, it just didn't, it's not, it's not feasible given all the other things that I'm doing at this point. So I just took a couple of their advanced classes and paid for some of them. We have some other suggestions here for PowerView was very helpful, and look into National Seminars training as well. So a variety of options out there, free and commercial, some from Microsoft, and I'm a big proponent of open sources, so definitely check out YouTube. And Dr. Chen, maybe you can let Dr. Hirsh know that there's some requests for that kind of sort of, I don't know if that fits in with the data management stuff or if that's more of on the technical side of things or whatnot, but some suggestions there for a possible highly attended, highly enrolled class for the iSchool. So I'm going to say thank you to Dr. Chen. Again, thank you so much for the talk and for fielding all of the questions, and to Dr. Hirsh as well, who had to leave, but thank you for joining us. Again, if you need any information about joining the ASIS student chapter or want to get involved, please let us know. I've just put a link to our post-event survey. Everyone has seen this slide if you've ever attended one of our events. This is the cat who can fill out surveys. Please check out our post-event survey, the bit.ly link here. It'll take you 2 seconds. We'd appreciate any feedback that you can provide about this event and any ideas for future events, other topics that you'd like to see the ASIS student chapter bring to you, our members, and the iSchool community. And so with that, I say thank you to everyone again for coming. Thank you to those who are watching this on YouTube, and to our speakers, Dr. Hirsh and Dr. Chen. We always appreciate having you and look forward to hearing from you again sometime very soon. Have a great night, everyone. Thanks again. Bye.